In the field with MFG Training Online. Small talk about big ideas. Thank you for joining us today on the ongoing series of marketing and business conversations with manufacturing owners, executives, and opinion leaders. Today, Rich Scorza, President of MFG Training Online, is speaking with Doug Felsenthal, VP of Operations at Kleiss Gears.
We're here in Grantsburg, Wisconsin, with Doug Felsenthal, Vice President of Operations for Kleiss Gears. Doug, good afternoon. How are you?
Thank you, Richard, and thanks for visiting northwestern Wisconsin.
It's a beautiful area, the heartland of America, I think.
Right, kind of a little out in the wilderness, but not too far from civilization.
So, Doug, you've been here about 2 years. You're Vice President of Operations, which actually, in a business like this, means you're also in charge of marketing, sales financial strategies. So, tell me a little bit tell us a little bit about Kleiss Gears, what you're up to, and what's been happening.
So, Kleiss Gears is a niche company. Our product is design, tooling, and production of polymer gearing. We call it polymer gearing instead of plastic gearing because it sounds better. But we make a lot of the motion devices for products around the world, including consumer, medical, aerospace. I don't know if you've heard of the Pleo robotic toy, but
I love that toy. Yeah.
It's a thinking.
That's on your website. That'll be on your website.
It's on our website, yeah. And a little dinosaur, and we did a 110 gear train device for that. So it's all our design. That's
so everything from toys. I think you guys work for Boeing. Don't you have some business with
Boeing
some of the big
737. We make
players?
bleed valves for jet aircraft. We make pieces for Hummers for automatic steering systems for stability control.
Oh, so right.
And we do a lot of medical products, so for medical diabetic pumps and that sort of thing. So
now we're in the shop floor here. You've got half a dozen or so of these machines at Arbor. So tell us a little about what their purpose is and the kind of the services you can offer with Kleiss.
Okay, so we're in the heart of the company here. One of the things you notice here in this building is it's extremely clean. So one of the things that we're really known for at Kleiss Gears is molding accuracies to below 1/1000th of an inch out of the press, which is extremely high in this type of industry, so we get a lot of high precision work to do here. The Arbor presses are the heart of the operation. They're all computer network controlled, as is most of the equipment in Kleiss Gears. But that means we have complete control over temperatures and molding pressures and length of time of production cycles, and it makes the repeatability. We can control enough factors of the process to a close enough tolerances. The repeatability is very, very tight between component levels. So
now, I know you have a good relationship with these guys. They're a German company.
They're a German company.
And you're very close with working strategically with them.
We work strategically. We're there at least a couple weeks every year for R&D research and various things. We're going now again in September and focusing on micro processing of parts that are very, very small, less than a gram in part size. So.
I find it amazing. You get a company in Grantsburg. I think you have 15 employees. So small shop, but effective. And you're an international company. You've put equipment in China. You've worked with folks out in Europe. Tell us, from your perspective, what are the challenges? Give me a couple examples of challenges that Kleiss sees in the upcoming year or two.
Okay. So challenges are probably twofold. One is it's a very highly technology-driven type of business. So finding the equipment, the presses, the measuring equipment to the accuracy levels that we utilize is very important and difficult. So what happens is that we don't find equipment that is perfectly suited to what we want to do, so we need the vendors that are open. We write a lot of our own software to do a lot of their thing, that sort of thing. So the next challenge we have is, from a marketing point of view, is just people knowing who we are. A couple of years ago, I'd say China seemed to be a big issue for us. A lot of people wanted to build kind of blindly in China and do this to get cheaper and cheaper prices, but what we found was the quality wasn't anywhere near what they needed for their devices, and so we got, by backlash, a lot of business in that direction, and now we actually make a lot of products that we ship to China, which is assembled there and then shipped back to the U.S. So
isn't that amazing?
It's a big
that story is always amazing to me. Now your organization, as I said, is a smaller organization, but it's international based. You came in a couple years ago. I think you're running at a 50% growth rate.
Yes.
Generally, when I ask that question, we do have some pain from healthcare costs, energy costs, and I don't hear that coming from your team very much. You've got the issues about technology keeping up, keeping ahead. So that growth rate is pretty impressive. No matter how big a company is, 50% doing anything is impressive. Tell us, in the last couple of years, when you came in, what did you do to get that growth rate in the right direction?
Okay.
Or
Really,
marketing sales
really the
standpoint.
biggest thing I did when I came in is take a look at the business and really define in a very specific and pointed way of what the business proposition was for Kleiss
I
Gears,
see.
and identify that on a bullet by bullet point, right? And then
differentiating your team.
why are we different? Why are we? There's only 3 or 4 other gear manufacturers in the U.S. Why are we different than they are?
I see.
The biggest point is precision. We can make more precise gears than anybody else because of a unique system that we got of doing that. And then it's a communication of that business proposition out to the market at large, and that's one of the things that Kleiss wasn't really doing.
Give me some specifics.
So one of the things, I mean, I really started a campaign of, let's really communicate with our customers. Let's get out there in front of them. A lot of our customers are out on the West Coast, in the Silicon Valley, down the LA
You spent some
area.
airport time, as I remember.
We do that in Boston. We've now started picking up international business because of the valuation of the dollar. It's actually cheaper to make things here than it is in Europe. And so that's pushed us out in that direction. But it's getting out there, finding out what they're doing, listening to their issues, and acting upon how we can apply what we do to what they need. So.
And you played Google. You did some other sorts of basic marketing.
Almost
techniques.
by happenstance. I mean, we have a very, very high Google rating for things like plastic gears and polymer gearing and that sort of thing, precision
Was that
gearing.
vendor-based? Did you guys do that?
No, it just sort of happened. I'm really not sure how that was driven, but it was from our old website kind of thing, and then people wanting to, having a niche market. What I'm working on is enhancing that process now. So moving forward with a new website, new look and feel, much more
Let's get
focused
into that.
engineering.
Tell me exactly. You got a new website coming. I understand that. Newsletters and that. What's your thinking for next year or two? In communication in the past, straighten out your value proposition, differentiating yourself from competitors nationally and internationally. Going forward the next couple of years, what's your thinking?
Becoming easier to find. So we're using things like ThomasNet, directory process, things like global spec, so people are looking. We just signed up for global spec. When people are looking for things and they're working in the engines, that we come up with a high level of repeatability on what that is doing, and then following that up with brochures to put together again our product proposition, newsletters to keep us in people's minds, and
there's one thing I don't want to lose because we talked a little while ago about this conversation, and you're a guy on the phone. You think you have your sales team, get on the phone, talk to customers and prospects. So some very basic sales techniques really could be successful.
Really very basic sales techniques. We're looking at the basics.
Cool.
And that's basically, it actually worked for us. I mean, at this point in time, I'm getting, 2 or 3 leads a day. From people calling in for one of those methods that they've heard about us. They have a problem, and they want to work with us to figure out.
So none too sexy, block and tackling, basic marketing. You haven't got the 2.0, you haven't gone to social media and that, but really block and tackling and great success. Okay, Di, I appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy man. Thanks again.
Thanks for coming to Northwest Wisconsin.
We're very happy to be here. From Grantsburg, Wisconsin, at Kleiss Gears, I'm Rich Scorza. Thank you very much.
You can contact Doug through Kleiss's website at www.kleissgears.com.